microseconds. Okay, then for the third numerology, that is 60 kilohertz, we have the symbol time of 16.67. so if you can see, the first one was 66.67 microsecond and this one is coming down to 16.67 microsecond, and the cyclic prefix length is 1.17 microseconds. Now for 120 kilohertz, means mu value 3, or the fourth numerology, we are getting the symbol time only 8.33 microseconds, and the cyclic prefix is coming down to 586 nanoseconds. Okay, so we are talking about timings of nanoseconds in 5G. And the last one for 240 kilohertz, or the fifth numerology of 5G NR, we are getting symbol time of 4.17 microseconds, which is even less than the cyclic prefix of the 15 kilohertz subcarrier. So the one which we are keeping for cyclic prefix here for numerology 1, same thing, we are using the cyclic prefix length less than the cyclic prefix is our symbol. Okay, so you can think out how much symbols we can transmit within 1 millisecond, because 4.1 microsecond is the symbol length and the cyclic prefix is only 293 nanoseconds. So that is the power of 5G NR. And then coming down to supported for data transmission, we transmit data for numerology 1, 2, 3, 4 or 15 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz, 60 kilohertz, 120 kilohertz. But 240 we are only doing transmission. No user data is transmitted for numerology 5 or 240 kilohertz subcarrier spacing. We are only transmitting the synchronization signals. Here for synchronization, we are using supported for synchronization. We send synchronization or the control information and signals in subcarrier 1 to 15 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz. 60 is not used for synchronization, that is only used for data, and the synchronization is used for 120 and 240 as well. So this is a quiz question that for data transmission we don't use 240 kilohertz subcarrier, and for synchronization we don't use 60 kilohertz. Okay, moving on to the frequency band, definitely for 15 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz, lower subcarrier spacing, we need a low band. That means 3.5 kilohertz. Okay, 3.5 gigahertz range frequency we can use for 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing. Then relatively we have higher frequency band for higher subcarrier spacing. So millimeter wave range, or above 7 gigahertz we use subcarrier spacing 120 or 240, right? So bigger the frequency band, or higher the frequency band, we have bigger subcarrier, or higher the subcarrier spacing. Lower the subcarrier spacing or lower the subcarrier, we use lower frequency bands below 7 gigahertz range. Okay, so let's say in India we use 3.5 gigahertz range. Okay, 3300 to 3500 range. Okay, moving on to latency. We experience larger latency for 15 kilohertz and comparatively smaller latency for higher subcarrier spacing. So when we talk about services like URLLC, ultra reliable low latency communication, we have to use higher subcarriers like subcarrier 120, 240, etc. And then cell size, definitely with 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing, we have a larger cell size compared with smaller cell size where we are having subcarrier spacing like 120 and 240 kilohertz, right? And also the frequency is very high, so the distance covered by one cell, or the cell size will be comparatively smaller, right, compared with higher cell size with lower subcarrier spacing or lower subcarrier and lower frequency bands below 7 gigs and then above 7 gigs, or the millimeter wave range. Now the cell size is gone, and then transmission time interval, because for URLLC and other kind of critical communication, we have a concept called mini slot. So we can transmit on urgent basis. We can, puncture some of the symbols and send some, urgent information. So that way, the normal transmission time interval is not followed. You can change the transmission time interval. That's why I have written this extra point here, that you have higher transmission time interval, let's say 5 millisecond or 1 millisecond or 10 millisecond, whatever here, but you can do comparatively lower transmission time interval for critical applications. That will come in a later or advanced stage of 5G. So that is all for today, and I hope you have seen the part 1. This is the part 2, though we are shooting in 4K, so it was not going through for the full video in just one video. So we have made it a part 1 and part 2. Do watch the part 1, and then this is the part 2. We discussed all about the different 5G in our numerology and what is the impact if the numerologies are like, if your SubCarrier spacing are lower, what is the impact in the network, what would be the cell size, what would be the frequency required, and what would be the latency, and what would be the transmission time interval, and then what is the symbol and the cyclic prefix length. Okay, and there is a structure wherein we discussed about different numerology and how much symbols we can transmit. So if I can start from here, for 15 kilohertz or fast numerology, we transmit in 1 millisecond, we transmit only 14 symbols. For the second numerology, we transmit 2 into 14, 2 blocks of 14 symbols. So for 30 kilohertz, we in 1 millisecond, 14 plus 14 or 14 into 2, so 28 symbols we transmit. Now for numerology type 3, that means 60 kilohertz, we have 4 into 14. So 44 into 4, 56 symbols we transmit. So you have to multiply the fourth one, 8 into 14 symbols. This 15 is actually 15 kilohertz. So I am trying to say that comparing to this, you can multiply with, let's say 14 symbols here, 8 into 14 symbols. And then for numerology 5, that means 240 kilohertz, 16 into 14 symbols. Okay, so around more than 200 or 220 symbols. You can do the calculation. So that much number of more symbols can be transmitted in same 1 millisecond transmission time with higher subcarrier spacing. Wherein with lower subcarrier spacing, you are sending relatively low number of symbols. Okay, so that is all for today. Hope you really liked and enjoyed this session. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up if you like the videos, and you can share the videos. You can put your comments below the video. Click on the bell button to get the notifications whenever we make any new video or new content. Thank you so very much for watching us today. Stay tuned for more updates. Take good care of yourself and your family. Bye-bye.